One of my biggest breaks was with Xbox, actually. They had to approve basically everything we made. We shot Sunrise and then drove all the way back to Seattle. I got back to Seattle and I realized that my camera bag was a little light.
You left your camera up there?
I left my camera on the mountain.
CinePacks built.
What is up, and welcome to the CinePacks Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Casey, and I have my co-host, Andy Qian, with me. We have a very special guest today, Alex Qian. He's a photographer who has worked with clients like Xbox, Western Digital, Turo, Mercedes, and many more. Alex, thanks for coming on the pod today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Just got back in town. I spent the weekend in Chicago, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So I was like kind of getting settled, but...
And you live in LA now?
I live in LA now, yeah.
How long have you been in LA for?
For the last 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. How was it out in Chicago? What's the weather like right now?
It's a lot milder than it is here. Like,
Oh.
I don't know if you've ever been to Chicago in the summertime, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
gets
like,
humid though, right?
It does get humid,
Yeah.
but I feel like out here it gets like too hot. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you? How's the experience been so far since you did you come to LA for like creative reasons or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how it worked out was I left like my last career in Chicago, and then I was just kind of doing my own thing, like on social media, just, taking photos and sharing as like a hobbyist. And just along the way, just figured out that this was something that I wanted to do. And I started getting opportunities based off of what I was sharing on socials. And then, yeah, once that started kind of like drying off, I felt like I was like hitting a ceiling in Chicago. Like that's when I was like, okay, I need to like move somewhere. I'd never like moved, like made a big move out of my hometown either. So I just sent it out here, and yeah.
Did you have like a big following already when you were in Chicago? Like, were you like building up your portfolio and stuff out there already?
Yeah, I had like a decent sized following. It wasn't like massive.
Yeah,
like,
I think I came across you. You were doing, I think I saw like some TikToks while you were out in Chicago. I think it was maybe around like COVID or something like that.
Mhm.
And you were just showing some like photo shots. You were shooting some like crazy angles of like the L train and things like that. But what really was like the beginning stages of your photography, and then like shooting around Chicago, what was that kind of like?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was I just fell in love. Like what had happened was like I was still working my corporate job, and then, picked up a camera, and I was like, every day after work, I would just go out and shoot street stuff. And like, when you like first start, you're just like shooting everything because everything is interesting to you.
Yeah.
It was basically that. I did a lot of like urban exploring. I know like a lot of people started, through that scene. So we would rooftop. I have like some shots where we were on like some rooftops and stuff like that.
Are you like breaking into buildings and like stealing, like climbing up things to get to these, or not?
I wasn't at that level. Like there was like a next level where there were people that were like breaking locks and like smashing windows and stuff to like.
That's crazy.
Because it was like a competition like back then.
Yeah.
In early Instagram days, where like people were like competing to like
Try to
get the
one
shots
up,
and
yeah,
stuff.
each
Yeah.
other.
The guy who like was doing backflips on like the Golden Gate Bridge. That was crazy.
Wait,
You seen that?
I've never seen that.
Oh man, I wish we could have Josh pull up the clip, but he's gone. But yeah,
I
there's some
kinda wanna
guy
see
he
that.
like climbed up the Golden Gate Bridge. I think he was like, I want to say he was doing backflips, but it was crazy. Yeah, it wasn't even for like photo or anything. It was just for the flex. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely feel like there were like levels to that. Posting the photo of your feet dangling off like some crane or something. So
Yep.
was there any like really sketchy ones where you're kind of like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like the guy that was like going up there to like show myself hanging off of like something. Like I never got a kick out of like it was like an adrenaline rush, but I never got a kick out of like being like, oh, look at this like sick thing I'm doing. Like what I was doing was still the stuff that like you see now. It's like I was always trying to create like some emotion, or like at that time it was like a really good like release for me. So it was like I was just trying to capture like a crazy scene. And nowadays it's still artwork that I still sell like at my own personal galleries and stuff like that. So I was always trying to create like some form of art, or like capture the city in like from a different perspective and things like that.
So
okay.
all right. So what kind of led you to what really what really allowed you to kind of make this a job per se? Because you said you left a corporate job. So how was it like working with brands? Like, were you able, like, was it your following? Like, what kind of led to that?
Yeah, it was all from social media. So it was, I guess you could say it was like based off the following. So I just came from a world where, you know, I wasn't aware that, you know, you could make a living from a camera and, you know, just creativity. So the first avenue that I found was through doing like brand, you know, and content, or like brand campaigns and collaborations, you know, through social media. And it was mostly Instagram at the time. So once I found that out, like that's when I just started to pick up more work. And as I shared more and grew more, like more work came. And then, you know, that's the ceiling that I was talking about, where like you start to hit this level where you're like, okay, this doesn't feel like it's like a sustainable thing, like long term. And that's when I started like switching over to doing like more professional work and coming out here to try and, you know, just do it the legit way.
So you were doing brand deals and stuff in Chicago already though. But you just like, was it the companies that you're working with, or where did you see the ceiling, I guess? Like what was the actual thing that kind of made you decide to like move?
It was, well, because it was a balance between like freelancing on the side. So at the time I was freelancing with Airbnb doing like interior photography, and I got a kick out of just, I feel like I've done like every sort of odd job that you can do in photography.
Sure.
Because I was just like, any way I can make it work, I'll do it. And that supplemented the social media work. But the social media work was the stuff that I really liked, right? It was like the stuff that they gave you creative freedom to like go and like do an idea, or like just do something fun and share it, you know, to your audience and with your friends. But I actually forgot the question. But,
so you were able to get these brand deals, maybe pretty early on. I'm not sure exactly how many followers you had at this point, but what kind of advice would you say for someone who maybe wants to do something similar to you, to like start working with some of these brands? We haven't got into these specific brands and like some of the content you've created, but what is something that you would recommend? Because I think part of it is what I've seen is you also like document the process a lot, and I think that's important. But what have you found?
Yeah, I think sharing the process and sharing like behind the scenes and stuff, I feel like we all understand now that that's almost as important as like the final product itself. It's like, that's what people want to see. So I've never not shown that. So for some reason that's always just kind of clicked with me. Yeah. I think it's like, I just like to like tell stories. So it's like, tell stories through, you know, what I'm producing, but then also just tell the story of like, you know, what I'm going through, like what's going through my mind, how I'm setting up the shot, like even just like, you know, the setup here, it's like showing the extra level of like everything else that is like behind the scenes here, which is really interesting to some people.
Yeah.
That's what I found was one of like the most important things that that brands ended up like wanting from me. I think it's more authenticity, right? To answer your question, it's like, it's just being, it's like not, you know, just not being someone you're not, just being honest about the process and things like that. And I feel like a lot of people vibe with that these days. They want the authentic story versus like what is, you know, being produced.
Yeah,
for sure.
What was the first like big brand deal or first like kind of thing that kind of set you, I guess, on this path of doing this type of work?
One of my biggest breaks, this is before I moved out here, was with Xbox actually.
Oh wow.
So there's a whole side of this story that I haven't told yet, and it's in Chicago I used to be really community oriented, and that's how I built my audience initially. It was because I had a brand called Shy Shooters, and it was a photography community that I started just because at that time Instagram meetups were huge. So like we would get like, it got kind of big, like we would get like a few hundred people out for like a photo meetup, and it was just like so fun to like link with like all these like-minded people, and just like people that wanted to like get out and, you know, just meet organically instead of like on social media. But the reason I bring that up is because doing that and that kind of network, we were like one piece of a bigger global thing. So I'm not really tied into the community as much anymore these days, but we had hubs here in LA, in Seattle, in London, San Francisco, and then Utah, I believe. And so it was like this thing that was kind of just like growing rapidly, and like we were trying to like make it cohesive. But through that, I was able to like network with people. And then I think the reason I got that first Xbox opportunity, as this kid that like was a hobbyist, right? Like I'm just sharing on social media. I'm not like, I don't have a studio. I was working out of my parents' living room at the time, because after I lost my job, I was like, I'm gonna move home and do this thing and see how it goes, right? I forget his title, but he was like a marketing guy at Xbox, like saw the work that we were doing and loved the community. And then he thought my work was good enough to like give me like an opportunity. And it was like more money than I'd ever been offered to like do a job, like a commercial job. Right.
What was the job though? Like what was the thing that they hit you up for?
It was just like a lifestyle campaign with some specific controller like models that they were coming out with. So I basically was given this opportunity with like zero experience to produce all these assets for them. This was also in like 2020 when COVID hit. So like a lot of, I think like their main studios shut down. And then that's when they were turning to content creators and just people like me to start, producing these things. And
so when you work with a brand like that, so they hit you up, they're like, they need a certain amount of assets, like photos that you would take. Did you like hire models? Did you like just take them? Okay. And then you shot them in your own living room still? Is that what?
No, that was where I was like, okay, I need to like, I need to do this like legit. I think I combined it actually. It was like, I combined a little bit of like the degeneracy with like DIY with like run and gun, and like, but I had like a loose crew, and it was like just a bunch of my friends basically. So I just like brought on my friend Jansen, who was like basically like the producer, and then my friends hooked me up with like a couple local models, and we did it the right way. So
what are some things that you learned from working with brands, especially the first time that you didn't know, never really working with a big brand like that? What can some of these young creators expect when they get their first brand deal, as far as like deliverables and things to look out for when working with brands?
There's a lot to consider. I think even before you even kind of get to that step where you have like a contract and you have like deliverables agreed upon, it's like nowadays, like with more experience, it's knowing like that it's not really about the creative the whole like most of the time. It's like they have like potentially a problem, and they're coming to you to like provide a solution, so like and you know what, if it is just creative, that's awesome, because then you can focus solely on that. But I feel like I'm at a level now where I'm just trying to figure out how to utilize my creativity to like solve a problem for a brand. And I think I'm speaking in terms of like how to scale like what I'm doing now, because that was a problem I ran into early on, where it was like, you can be as creative as you want. Like I feel like a lot of people focus on that, like creating the most stunning edit. Like there's so many crazy video editors and like FPV pilots, just like all these different tools, and like you can create like some really sick stuff, right? But like what I've realized is that most, outside of like certain industries, most clients, like if you're working with what they're looking for like a solution. Like they're not looking for just like you to hand over like a sick video and then they don't know what to do with it, right? It's like on the back end, like how do they utilize it on like their social channels? Like how do they run ads with it? Stuff like that. It's just like there's a whole like suite of steps after the creative, I feel like, that is important to consider.
Yeah. Some of the recent campaigns you did, one of my favorites was definitely the one with the Xbox again, like you, which is pretty crazy. That was like one of your first big clients you mentioned. Mm-hmm. But you did this shoot with Halo. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the client wasn't actually, Xbox was involved. They had to approve the content, but this was for a furniture company called Hayworth that they had these gaming chairs and they really liked some of the content that I had done for one of their like sister brands. But I was like, okay, this is a really cool opportunity to like do something different and just like kind of take it to the next level. And I was like, hey, how do you guys feel about me dropping all this money on of like this budget that they gave me to get like a actual realistic Master Chief suit?
Yeah.
And so they're like, that's definitely different, but we're down.
Yeah. So with your connection with Xbox, you were actually able to make that happen?
Yeah. Well, so I didn't go through Xbox. Yeah. I went through like
but you said you have to get their approval, right?
Yeah. They had to approve basically everything we made.
Gotcha.
Which was a whole different thing. And going back to like your question about like, what are things you need to be aware of when working with brands? It's like, you need to be aware of, like legal is like a big thing. So it's like, certain things, if you're shooting for a brand, like don't wear logos and just like things of that sort that like are copyrighted by someone else, sure. Like little things like that. It's like, and the reason I bring that up is because during the shoot we learned a lot. The suit was like, we had produced everything, and the suit we learned was potentially an issue, but it ended up not being like that big a deal. They approved it anyways. But the thing that did become a bigger issue was I used AI to change my voice into like Master Chief's voice to like, you use it in the content, and that was like a no-go. So they shot that down, and I had to like,
because it was AI or because Master Chief and just like
that's like a specific like voice actor's like likeness or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to get that person's like to sign off on that too then.
Yeah, I'm assuming his voice is licensed. Yeah. Like maybe Xbox owns Master Chief in the IP for that, so that's cool, but the actual voice is from like a voice actor, and we couldn't use that or something like that. But we didn't get details. It was just like we had to change it.
I mean, some of the shots were crazy though. Like you were out in the desert with some aperture lights, like shooting some really cool images. What was that shoot like?
That was just fun. Yeah. Like that for me, it was just the reason why I do what I do is like to go out and create things from my imagination. And when you can combine that with like something that is meaningful and nostalgic from my childhood, like that's just like gravy,
Yeah. I feel like everyone loved Halo, especially the older Halos. It was just, just everyone used to play that on the original Xbox. So.
Yeah. I used to play it every day after school. We had this like video game cafe right down the street, and everybody just go there and play Halo.
Those were the golden days. Yeah. Halo
like
3 days.
Online first became a thing too. That was crazy. Yeah.
But is there any other so I guess so after that first Xbox gig, then was like other brands just kind of coming in, or like did you have to still look for jobs, or like what was kind of the process from there to where you are now?
Yeah, I think at that point I was pretty fortunate, like in hindsight, because I was just getting a lot of these brands just reaching out through social media. So that's where I got to work with Adobe Video, specifically Premiere Pro. And at that time, I was also not like super well versed in video. So I was like, okay, like this is like a professional editing software, and like I don't know why they're reaching out to me, but then that's how I started getting to like doing video. So like nowadays I'm just kind of like this jack of all trades type of, I'm still like a photographer and like content creator, but like that's how I started like picking up just like all these different skill sets.
I saw you did one with Mercedes, because I was going through your Instagram and I was just trying to, soak up everything. And I knew obviously, even just being in content creation, you have to understand even just the basics of editing, because you have to be able to like show the behind the scenes and then show your final photos. You know what I mean? Especially in this day and age. But I feel like I saw like you do a rolling shot with for Mercedes, and you had, you know, the setup on the back of the car.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, oh wow, he does video as well, and yeah, it was solid. So yeah. So you had to start picking up video as well.
Yeah. So, it was just also just the nature of the platforms, right? Like, when TikTok came out, I think I was just one of the oddballs that was like, you know what, this looks like an opportunity. I'm going to learn how to make basic videos, right? Like TikTok's never been this platform where it's like highly polished stuff. It's like, I'm just going to use my phone and start just documenting things and sharing it. So, I just learned how to start doing all of it, I guess, which is now kind of a weak point because I'm really tired of doing everything myself. But that's just another thing that is like pushing me to like level up, right?
And the TikToks, you just shoot on your phone and edit on the TikTok app, like you're not bringing it to Premiere or anything like that.
Back in the day, I was just like throwing it in the TikTok editor and you know, spitting out like the text and stuff, like they're putting text on it. I still do that actually, just because it's like it's easy and sometimes that's all you really need to do. Yeah,
I mean, I've learned that sometimes. Like, I mean, when I first started doing TikToks, I was trying to make it just because I owned a ton of like bunch of cameras and stuff like that, and I was like, I'm experienced in the video world, so I was trying to make them like super polished and stuff, and I put so much effort in it. And then I'll post a couple of random ones that I just shot on my phone with like the least amount of effort, and those would go way crazier. So I was like, okay, maybe like, I don't know, I feel like it's a whole, but I guess that kind of goes back to your point about like authenticity and like just kind of, honestly, it's really about kind of showing the content and the process, and like I feel like maybe if it's too well produced, then it kind of also makes people feel like it's an ad, or I don't know, you know.
Do you ever do that with clients? Do you ever like include like cell phone video or like, you know, like lower quality video on purpose to kind of just make it feel more authentic to the app?
Yeah, it's actually something that I think is like an advantage nowadays. It's something I offer like separately. It's like this, you know, some brands, they don't care. They still want it to be produced and like highly produced and look, you know, like it was worth the money that they spent. Yeah. Like it's a hard line to draw where it's like, okay, we're going to just
spend
give you
all this money and then they're getting iPhone.
And they're getting like these iPhone videos. So it's like, now I'm just like, okay, this is a side thing that we can provide that it is proven to be something that like will drive more engagement, you know, views, whatever their goal is. But that in tandem with whatever we're producing is.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the content I see from you, I feel like you will get like those iPhone behind the scenes videos, and then you're waiting for the results, and then you're getting these high quality results. So kind of draws them in. But like another shoot that I like that you did recently was the, I believe it was a collab with Turo. And I saw you work with Turo a lot as well, but the Cybertruck shoot, those like long exposure photos were sick.
Yeah.
Was that your idea to get the Cybertruck, or is it? Or did they come to you with like a creative brief or anything like that?
Yeah, they gave me a brief, and then so those images actually it was like a spec basically. I just was like, I have the Cybertruck. I want to just do something cool that was not tied to Turo at all. That was like just something I wanted to do. Like,
did you rent it off Turo, or did you know someone with a Cybertruck?
It was from Turo, but they provided the car. Okay, but it was like from someone on the platform.
Cool.
But yeah, that was just like a creative concept. I was like, I just want to like do something fun. And Aperture had given us a lot of these like really cool light bars to shoot with. So I was like, I want to do just like this creative concept.
If you're an editor, you should definitely check out CinePacks' digital assets. They have thousands of effects that you can easily drag and drop into any editor, like Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, Premiere, After Effects, CapCut, the list goes on. And since you're listening to this podcast, use promo code POD20. You're going to get 20% off your digital asset order. And if you don't want to spend any money, check out the free samples, because we have thousands of free sample effects that you can use in any project. Now back to the episode. Yeah, so you did the shoot. You had you were using the Aperture Infinity bars, and you basically did it as a concept. Yeah, and then so did that turn into an actual project once you did the proof of concept?
It was like I had the brief, and then I had a few extra days with the cars. That's when I did like my own thing.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But the original concept was, I took it to LAX and I did this whole skit, and then had actually it wasn't very fun editing it, but I put the Cybertruck there, and then I had basically a couple other just like cars as like stand-ins, and then I meticulously like cut out all the cars over like I think like 150 or so frames.
You had to take out all the just extra cars that were there, you're saying?
I had to create the cars.
He did like a it was like a mystery box, almost like like the mystery. Was that the inspiration, or was
it was like
the mystery box from
Carousel,
Zombies.
like
okay, I see.
So it's like cycling through the cars, and he's like, I got a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
So was that generative? Did you use Photoshop as well? Because there was a lot of different cars that cycle, but you actually had some physical cars you pulled in for that shot, or instead of the Cybertruck?
Yeah, so how I planned it was I had like a Tesla, and then I forget what the other, I think it was like a Range Rover or something, but I had real cars as like, because there was parts where it started with a Tesla and then it stopped on a car, and I wanted it to like stop on a real car, because like those generative models, if you go through that video,
they're not real cars. Yeah,
they look goofy as hell. They have like 6 doors and like, it's just funny. But
so it starts with the Model 3.
So the real cars.
Oh yeah, you can see
where
them.
it stops. I wanted it to still look real.
Yeah.
But if you like pause on any of those cars, they look. Some of them like goofy. Some of them are actually really cool too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I did one where we did like a shoot. It's also like a video for Aperture, and we did this like this guy. He's like playing around with a time machine, and then it doesn't work, and then he comes back, and then like it started working, and then like the whole room starts shifting around him. And we didn't even do it on a tripod. We were like, we did it as a oneer, and then we had like the Steadicam just stay as still as possible. It kind of worked though. It worked, but like just some of the results are just like
like they're not even real objects, but it's like whatever. It's like you just need a quick flash of it,
exactly,
and then it's just gonna cycle through all these different.
No, I definitely like that. I was drawn to that one as well because I feel like it did have a good story too. Because it's like, you get off this plane. You need a car, and then so you're using Turo, and then it was just cool to see like, like they have Cybertrucks now. It was a cool visual representation of like shopping on Turo, but like in like this different medium. Yeah, like it's just like, like selecting in a video game or something, or like a slot machine.
Yeah.
So.
It is like a video game because like some of the sound effects are from like Mario Kart.
Oh, really?
And the final like payoff sound is from Zelda.
Oh,
like I'm a huge nerd. If you we probably already.
Yeah, it reminded me of the mystery box and stuff. Did you ever play COD Zombies or no?
COD Zombies, no. I played the World War II one like way back.
Yeah, that one had that was the first time they had it. But there's the mystery box, so it opens up and then it like basically plays like this Jack in the Box sound. Oh, and then it cycles through all the weapons like that, and it starts to slow down. And then they would always tease you with the ray gun, like the best gun.
Yes,
and
I do remember that actually. The ray gun is goated.
Yeah, the ray gun is.
So I'm curious about so what was the brief that you got from Turo, and how much of this was like your idea and like your concept versus what they asked for?
So a lot of the briefs that come to me now are basically the brief was around Turo. Wanting to create a campaign around the Cybertruck being available on their platform.
Sick.
So, and that's with the majority of my jobs is they basically give me the, creative direction to bring something to life. And I guess if we're going back to the topic about working with brands, it's like getting that approval is like really important.
Sure.
I learned I had some hard lessons where, I went ahead with something and like didn't get the approval and like had to reshoot, and it was just like this whole ordeal.
So for this project, so they're like, oh, we want to make we want something that shows that the Cybertruck's available. And then did you have to like write a script or like a treatment or something and then bring it back to them, and then they have to approve it? Like how many? Yeah. Like okay, that's generally how it works.
Yeah, that's basically how it went. It was like created a treatment with a couple of ideas, and then.
You give them like a list of ideas and they like let them choose kind of thing?
Yeah, usually I'll do like 3. I'll have like one. This is the one where I'll like key in and I'll be like, this is like kind of the one that I want to do. But I'll always give them options. I feel like clients just appreciate when you give them options.
Is there any like times when they're just like, nah, not really feeling any of these?
No, honestly, I mean, I feel like that's why we exist, right? Yeah. It's like, especially if they're a corporation, like no offense, but like they're not really the most creative thinkers. Yeah. Like sometimes I have to explain it to them, right? They're like, this sounds weird, like, and in your mind, you're like, just trust me, like it's gonna be cool. Like,
so for like that Turo one, did it specifically go on your page, or did they post it as well, or how does that sometimes work?
Nowadays, I mean, it's always changing, right? Like social collabs is like the whole platform game is always changing, but nowadays it's really beneficial to post as a collab, so you can like tag both accounts and hit both audiences.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, they usually ask for that. You think, like, for most of us.
I usually like push for it just because
it helps you out too. Like you're getting exposure, they're getting your audience too.
Yeah. I like, of course. Yeah, I would love to like share that, Mercedes tag. I did something with Mercedes or like the brand I'm working with, but it's also to their own benefit, So it's like I always try to position it that way, where it's like it's like a win-win, especially if we're putting so much effort into this thing.
Yeah.
I would also personally just feel more valued if it was like a partnership versus like we're just
like
kind
a work for hire type.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you ever get like crazy like after, so you finish this video, you send it to them, and like do they have come back with like a ton of notes? Like is that like, how's that process like do you have to do revisions on these, and like do you ever get things where they're just like, oh no, this isn't what I thought this was going to be, or anything like that?
Yeah, that's where I think I've gotten a lot better at just being communicative and just even like sending over visual treatments just to kind of give them an idea of like what they're gonna what they can expect. Helps just get in front of a lot of those potential bottlenecks.
Sure.
But there's always things that are unexpected, like the Halo voiceover.
Oh yeah.
That's stuff that they're not even like looking out for. Yeah. So sometimes you just have to roll with the punches,
Sure.
But it always works out.
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit here. I saw this one shoot that you did, and you were one common theme that I see in a lot of your work is slow shutter and these light trails. Can you in this specific shoot, you were doing a lot of light painting. Can you kind of explain what light painting is and that technique in general in photography?
Yeah, I think I go through like phases of, you just get sick of shooting one thing, or you just want to try something different, or just give yourself a challenge. And light painting right now is definitely one of those things I have been just practicing, and it's crazy. Like I feel like with that, like there's no limit to like the things that you can create, especially as you bring different other types of light into it. But what light painting is basically your camera like slowing down the shutter so that it's capturing basically light that is moving, or how does this go? So it's capturing light that is moving faster, I believe, than the shutter speed. So like, for example, like if you have a light wand and you set your shutter speed to like a second or more, and you wave it during the time that the shutter is open, it's going to capture the light, like that little trail of light, but it's not going to capture like you. So like that's how I don't know, it's like a magical effect. I don't know like the technicality of it, but basically it'll capture the light and you're not there if the light doesn't
on yourself though. Would you be in the shot? Like if you accidentally lit yourself with that?
Yeah, sometimes. So, right? Yeah, sometimes.
I think if you're moving fast enough, it won't catch it.
Gotcha.
So you gotta be like running or something.
Yeah.
Depending on how slow the
In one example, I saw you have a trash bag over this light as well, and you were creating these portals, like these portals for these cars, and these shots were insane. I think there was a little bit of Photoshop in there because I saw like the other locations, like it was almost like they were coming from a different location. But why did you have this trash bag over this like magic wand? You had it on like a pole, and you were just like, it looked insane. You probably look crazy in person, but the images you got were stunning. So why the trash bag?
So that's what I'm saying about like there's different ways to like modify the light. So like, I mean, you guys understand like when you put like diffusion on a light, it changes it. So that was like to soften it, and then also when you do a long exposure with something like that, that's like not really controllable. It also creates just like really cool artifacts and patterns. So for like the portal concept, it just created like really cool like little light streaks coming off of the actual main, I I guess like portal of light that I was trying to create.
I feel like it kind of gave it more of like a portal look, and I feel like it looked a little more wavy versus like some of these clean lines like in this photo behind you, like of these cars.
Was that like an accident that you decided to like, were you trying a bunch of different things before you landed on this bag, or was it like just like, oh, I accidentally, I don't know.
No, I kind of knew. I mean, I gotta be honest, like I don't think it was my original idea. I think I saw it from another creator.
Yeah.
So
that looks crazy.
I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna take this and see how it comes out.
So what's your shutter speed right there, and like how many tries are you trying this till you get it right, and like how much also isn't done in post?
I mean, a lot of it is post.
Yeah,
right?
It looks like the wheels are being cut off and stuff like that. So
I have to like extend the trail sometimes because like I like for some of those I can't go underneath the car, you know. So there is a lot of post work for sure. And it's funny, I probably have all of the the BTS like tries in my phone. Nowadays, I mean, it's not that many tries just because I think like with practice, you know. But
are you ever doing like clean plates as well sometimes, or?
Yeah. So you know the process. So like,
no, I know. I knew why you used the bag. I just asked for the podcast. This guy knows nothing about it.
No.
No, I knew why. But
and a clean plate is when you get like, for the audience, it's when you get just a clean shot of like, if I'm painting it around a car, for example, like you get a clean shot of the car and the background, like the environment that you're shooting in, and then you edit in, you know, the lighting with Photoshop.
It's pretty impressive though, like just seeing your body of work, like just all the different types of work and like how many facets there are, because like this is like, I know there's some people who just go all in on light painting and they paint like you know, like people and all sorts of crazy things like that, but then like this photo behind us, like this landscape, like this where is this?
That is Mount Rainier. That's actually a funny story. We it was like there's a crazy story behind this actually. Not with the shot, but what happened after. But this was like an entire night that we spent like camping on the mountain to like, I have a whole time lapse of this actually. Oh wow. This is just one.
You guys went out there just for this photo, or just like?
Yeah, just
time lapse.
Yeah, just like because it was like the Milky Way was aligning behind the peak, so we just like sat up there.
That's crazy.
I don't know if you guys have ever been to there. I believe it's like the Fremont like lookout or something like that. That's like where we were basically. But
okay, gotcha.
We got lucky. Like the fog rolled in and it was like really cool. That big star is the moon.
This is up in the Bay Area?
No, this is Seattle.
Oh, Seattle.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Rainier.
Okay,
yeah.
you said Fremont, so I was like,
that's just what the thing.
I was thinking. I was like, I don't think there's anything that looks like that.
No,
in Fremont.
And this was like a long exposure too.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably like with astrophotography. It's usually like 15 seconds max. Mm-hmm. So it was probably around like 13 seconds. Otherwise, like the stars would like be like trailing. And stuff. But
it's pretty sick. It looks like it'd be like I was telling him like an Apple, like a MacBook background that comes default with. You try to sell it to Apple.
Yeah, I have some like the tree image you really like. Yeah. That's actually an Apple background, not my image, but like location.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, it is.
And then I just did like my little spin on it because I like lighting things up. But,
that's right.
Back to this. I don't know if you guys want to hear this story. It's like kind of long. But I have to tell it because it's actually kind of wild. This was back when I was like doing the community thing, so I was like really tied into the community in Seattle. But basically after this night, because we were so exhausted, we woke up, shot sunrise. So we had like maybe 2 hours of sleep. But I remember we shot sunrise and then drove all the way back to Seattle. And I got back to Seattle and I realized while we were unpacking that my camera bag was a little light.
Oh, you left your camera up there?
I left my camera on the mountain. So I was like, I don't know if you guys have ever lost a camera like that, but like I was like kind of distraught and panicking.
Yeah. So how many hours was that drive?
Like, it was a 3-hour drive.
Damn. Yeah. So did you turn back and turn back and try to get your camera back?
We did.
How long was that? Did you hike up there as well, or was it just the drive?
This was just a drive. I think I literally left it in the parking lot because like it was like something where
so there's a chance that you wouldn't even find, like someone else could have grabbed it by the time you get back.
Oh, I knew in the back of my mind it was like that camera is gone. Like there's no way that was still there.
But it was worth the 3-hour drive still.
But I was like, for me it was like not even just the camera, but it was like this, right? We shot this that night, and like it was like the content that we shot. So I was like just stressing, and I was like, I'm gonna go back, and like me and my buddy drove back 3 hours. Like, God bless Mike. He was just like, I'm here for you. We'll find it, man. Like, you know. So we made the drive back, and I was like calling the park. I was like, hey, like, let me know if you guys find a camera or someone turns one in. Drove there. Obviously it was gone. But then like the craziest thing happened. I remember I was also like telling my friends that were like in the community at the time, and they were putting their feelers out. And a couple days before this shoot, I had done a hike with some of the guys from the community, and at the time we had like just like our own pre-made T-shirts with like the logo on it on the back, and I had an image of him with like in the shirt. And so some guy actually picked up the camera, and they DM'd the community page because they recognized that shirt. They were like,
on the photo,
on the camera.
They went through the photos, and they're like, I recognize that logo. They reached out to the page, and then the owner of the page hit me up and was like, yo, we have your camera. That's crazy. And he was like back in Seattle already. Wow. And I was like, that was like one of the craziest, like happiest moments. Wow. Just like roller coaster of emotions. Like, so then we made the drive all the way back, met the guy, gave him a big hug, like got the camera.
Damn.
That's so sick.
Wait, so you got it back the same day?
Yeah, same day.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster of emotion.
That's a lot of driving too.
I know, it was so much driving, but I was like so happy. I think I have a video because I was like doing a lot of the TikTok stuff, so I was like telling the story at the same time, and everyone was getting a kick out of it because like they probably thought I was an idiot or something. It was like entertaining.
That's crazy. Yeah, nothing's worse than losing camera, losing footage. I mean, that's like a combination of both, so that's horrible. Yeah. This guy, he lost a camera once.
I mean, that's because someone stole it.
You should tell the story though.
My story is not as crazy, but it's like
it's pretty crazy. It's not.
I never got my camera back.
Damn.
Literally just got stolen out of my car. Like, because I used to live in San Francisco, so it was just like car break-ins like rampant. It was like the second time I got my car broken into.
Damn.
And I literally just left my gear. It was the third day of a music video shoot. And I just left everything in the car for just like 5 minutes to grab some Chinese food across the street. Yeah. As soon as I came back, my windows are smashed. All my gear's like gone. The only thing that they left was my tripod on the floor because they're just like, I guess they just like fucked the tripod and just like took all the lenses, monitors, camera. We had a Ronin in the back.
Damn, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah, batteries, like literally just everything. They just emptied out my car. It was like $30,000 like insurance claim, and then my insurance company dropped me right after that because it was the second time I got my car broken into. They're just like, you live in San Francisco, you keep getting your car broken into, like find another insurance company. No. So they paid out the $30K. Well, I mean, it's like you have to buy some of the stuff back, and then some of the stuff was also rented from other people on like ShareGrid and stuff. So they had to buy a new whatever, and then the company would reimburse them. But it was like a $30K loss for the insurance company, and I was paying $500 a year for the insurance, like, you know. So I was like, they just kept losing money off of me, so they just dropped me. So
that's lucky though.
Be careful in San Francisco if you ever travel out there for shoots.
Well, a lot of people aren't insured, so like that's pretty lucky that you were. Smart.
Well, but that's because it was the second time I got my car broken too. So
the first time you were.
The first time I was too. The first time I just had a laptop stolen. Yeah, that's why it dropped me. But I mean, it's just like growing up in the Bay and like living there. Like everybody, like you just hear about those stories all the time, especially people from out of town, like just tourists and stuff. People that don't really know, and they'll come in town. They'll bring all their cameras and like whatever. I've even heard of people like documentary crews from like out of town coming in to shoot a documentary or to shoot like a news segment or something like that, and they'll get their car broken into, or like sometimes
even robbed.
They'll do
straight up.
They might even do during the
crazy stories. There was that one guy. He was on the news, and it was like a repeat case too. And they followed him all the way from, he was at Marin Headlands, then he drove all the way home to Fremont. They followed him, and they like bipped him right in his driveway, like broke the back glass. Like one guy came up asking for directions, and then like he tried to run him over in his Tesla, and then they started like shooting back at his face. It was
That's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, it was a crazy story. But yeah, the Bay Area is, I don't know if you experienced anything. Yeah, or if you were,
I have friends, that robbed at gunpoint stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah.
in the Bay Area specifically, or
That's
just
not
all
fun.
over?
In the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel-
I've never heard of it anywhere else. I'm from
Yeah.
Chicago too. Like
Yeah.
we get a bad rap, but none of that has ever happened.
Yeah, I feel like the Bay Area is one of the like. That's why I specifically haven't done run and gun videos out in the Bay Area. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
scary for photographers and just video people,
Mm-hmm.
because you're walking around with like, you're almost like an artist, like walking around with like a big chain.
Yeah.
It's like a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to shoot up there a lot too. This was maybe like five years ago, and then I feel like after that point was when it like shifted a lot.
Hey, real quick, didn't know if you knew this, but CinePacks actually has 3 studio locations in Los Angeles. If you're a filmmaker, photographer, and you're looking for a studio space, look no further. CinePacks is here. We have one location in South LA that has multiple music video sets, has a small LED wall. We have the entire vintage house in East Hollywood. We have a large LED wall studio in North Hollywood as well, with tons of standing sets. You can check out the studios at cinepackstudios.com or check us out on Instagram at CinePacks Studios. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Have you had any crazy experiences? That was definitely a crazy story. Have you ever had any crazy experiences, close calls or anything?
In LA or
just in
anything
your-
like that? Now that you've been here.
I mean, not like specifically being robbed, just like in general, like just any crazy stories.
Oh, I mean, crazy stories, plenty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never. I mean, like with like robberies and stuff like that. I've never.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
if I'm like just like
Just
a street
actually
smart kid or
lucky
something, but
yeah.
like I've never run into any problems like that,
Yeah.
thankfully. But and hopefully that continues.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have plenty of crazy stories. Like it's kind of a fun, like, I guess like it is this is my like new career, it's like fun to look back on some like the memories that it's provided compared to like my last career. I was like sitting in a cubicle.
Yeah.
I did that for like almost 9 years, so it was like a good transition, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like with the urban exploring, like got a lot of really cool opportunities to like do things. Like I like we rooftopped in like Paris,
Oh wow.
and just like, and we've done that a couple times in like Japan and stuff like that. Had some adventures in China. So, and I don't do the travel stuff as much anymore, sadly, but they're all
were all
really
these
good
travel
memories.
things like, were they like paid jobs that you would travel on, or you just like save up money and just do these travel things yourself?
It was mostly, just coming out of my own pocket, out of pure passion.
Mhm.
Sometimes I would get a gig, but I wouldn't really like integrate it into it. At that time, this was actually before I started getting a lot of like the brand deals. So in a way, I guess I was just building an audience, doing fun travel things, like that kind of that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the drone was really fun to play with.
I was actually going to bring up the drone, because I also saw you use that as a tool, even in like the Master Chief one.
Mhm.
I believe it's a drone. There's like this halo
Yeah. Mhm.
around Master Chief, and it's also like a light painting technique.
Yeah.
Are you putting a light on your drone, or are you using the I think the Mavic, I know like the newer Mavic 3 or whatever has like a pretty bright light on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk a little bit about that technique.
Yeah, that's the same technique as the handheld painting. And I feel like it's kind of a popular thing. You'll see it on like social media all the time now, but
Yeah.
like the drones have auxiliary lights, which is like the bottom light it uses to land, but you can also turn it on at any point. And I didn't start this at all, but like I won't claim that. But yeah, at some point someone found out that it'd be kind of cool to light paint with it in the air and like create artifacts in the air. So we did that. It was a simple, just like halo. You can program those drones to like do circles around.
Yeah, that's what I was
something.
going to ask, because it's a perfect circle. So you did like an orbit around them.
Yeah, before it was funny. Like the first time I tried it, like I didn't know that was a thing. So like
You're just trying to manage.
I was like, this is impossible. Like trying to with the joysticks.
Yeah.
And I'm like a proud gamer too. So I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like
You're
I
like
can't
trying to fight the wind and stuff too. Like trying to,
Yeah.
And even the
Nervous.
GPS gets a little iffy too sometimes. So it's kind of like,
Mhm. Yeah. And actually, now that we're talking about it, like one of my favorite inspirations, I don't know if you guys know his work, but His name is Ruben Wu. He's like a Nat Geo photographer. I guess I get a lot of my inspiration because a lot of my stuff is low light, kind of like moody atmosphere type of work. But you should definitely like take a look at his work. Like it's beautiful. It's like eerie. And he's like at a level where he's like doing these types of collabs with Apple and stuff like that. Wow. That's yeah.
Are there specific cameras that you're drawn to, lenses that you've kind of stuck with, or especially being in the low light space, like you just said? Have you found yourself like loyal to a certain brand or camera?
Yeah, I guess it's a little messed up because I'm a Canon boy that shoots low light, which is like doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
but that's the camera I started with, and like most of these are shot on a 1DX. And then nowadays I shoot on R3, but yeah, I don't know. That ecosystem just always.
I mean, I feel like when you have low shutter speed, you can really do anything too, like with the amount of light and.
Yeah. I mean, sensors are so good these days, but it's like with Sony cameras and some of the cameras, like
the Sonys are insane.
It's crazy. Like you don't even you can do it handheld. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with the Canon, I still have to put it on a tripod. I'm like this new age kid, but like old school dad photographer where I'm like still carrying around a tripod and like shooting everything like on a tripod,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Gotcha.
Sony's like, I mean, you can handheld that and sometimes get long exposures out of them. Yeah. It's crazy.
Do you sometimes shoot on Sony still, or are you still Canon tripod?
I'll shoot some video stuff on Sony.
Gotcha.
But it's never my own camera. It's usually like a friend or someone. Yeah. But everything I do is Canon.
Nice.
Sick. Yeah. Anything else we should look forward to that you're working on or that you're dropping soon?
I did a really cool shoot last week with a tire brand. So they gave me this whole off-road tire brief, and I have a good friend who runs a auto detail shop. So he has access to all these like really cool cars, and he's generous enough to like also let me use some of these cars sometimes for shoots. So we ended up putting these tires onto a Cybertruck. Oh, nice. So I guess the Cybertruck thing is like becoming a theme, but took that thing out to the desert.
I feel like it's so good for content at the same time because like one, you're going to get like the people who love Cybertrucks commenting.
Yeah.
And then two, you're going to get the giant audience of people who hate the Cybertruck.
There's more of that.
That's the majority of it. But like
also that controversy is what I feel like if people are commenting, like whether they love it or hate it, like I feel like that's what drives engagement too. So I feel like it's easier to get.
Yeah. Have you found like little tricks and things that you've been implementing like into your work to like maybe help things go a little more viral, like for these brands?
Yeah. I mean, not really by intention. It kind of just, for some reason, just works out. Like the Cybertruck stuff, it's like stuff that is culturally relevant is obviously going to do well. Like when the Apple Vision came out, right? Like people were all about all those like funny skits that were coming out. So it's like anything that, is like easily made fun of. It's like almost like you have to put yourself in a position to like get made fun of or like receive hate, which is like something I'm almost like immune to nowadays, which I used to be a kind of like I sometimes still am, but like just like a self-conscious person. Sure. So like even when you start on social media, right, or like get on camera, it's like scary. It's a skill. It's like something that like isn't like most people don't do it and are comfortable right away. But I mean it's just like part of the internet world. I think growing up like on the internet, right, and gaming and like just like talking crap on like Reddit or something like that, just like
is a different era. In our era. Gaming was a
it's intense. You gotta have thick skin.
Yeah, exactly.
But for sure. Cool. I think we're coming to the end. We'll hold for that. We got some stuff going on, but
what do you guys got coming up?
We've been working on this podcast. We did a big run with the podcast. We got this DP series that we're kind of doing over there, educational. We just kind of upgraded the studio. We got these sidewalls. Anything else we got coming up or no?
I'm working on some stuff, but it's not announced yet. So but we got a lot of stuff.
I feel like it comes in waves.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I feel like we do stuff in like chunks and like we'll just get a couple ideas and we'll just go hard really fast.
Yeah.
Really quick.
But we just passed our like 5-year anniversary of CinePacks as a whole company.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like kind of just want to like, I don't know,
get back to
level up and kind of just do, build the brand more, build the
Mm-hmm.
community more, and kind of just like, just do more stuff and just try to, just pretty much level up the whole everything we're doing.
Yeah. We kind of got away from content creation. We're just focusing on the studio. So we want to utilize all the people and, studios.
We have so much resources, we have our space. Like this is such a, this is something we can do, and that'll kind of like bring awareness and also, give other creatives like a platform to kind of share their stories, share their perspectives and stuff. And I feel like that stuff's valuable for people who are, people that's just starting out, whether they're, and also people that are kind of in the game, but like, just want to learn and stuff, because everybody's always learning and growing. So
what advice would you have for, any beginning photographers? Because I feel like I often hear from photographers, it's hard for them to make money.
Yeah.
Because I feel like photography, it's tricky because like video is kind of becoming, sometimes the term is video is king. But what's some advice for you have? Rephrase that. What's some advice you have for a beginning photographer?
Oh man, I guess I'll answer this in two ways. There's one from the framework of like where I was as a beginner. So that was just like going out, shooting, like finding out ways to just make it work. Like at the end of the day, like we're all entrepreneurs, right? So it's like either you make it work or you don't. So like I said, I was doing like all these odd jobs. I was freelancing, doing real estate and interior. I was doing like everything, like food photography and everything. But I think at the core of the question, most beginner photographers, what they really want to do is like the cool stuff, the travel stuff, like, and that's again, like if you want to do that, then social media is like the best way to do that. It's like you travel and you create cool stuff and you share it. And if people pick up on that, then, that's a thread that you can pull on. Now the second part of that is, as a beginner, like at this time, like we have AI, there's like all the market is crazy saturated compared to when I didn't even start like that early. There was people that started on Instagram like in 2012, right? And they got massive because of it. I started in like 2016, 2017, which was relatively late. And that's like, but like, I guess that's a testament to like, it's not really when you start, it's just like, how much are you willing to like put into it to like make it work?
Yeah.
But yeah, nowadays it's like, even though there's all these things that people are like, scared of or complaining about or, whatever, even like people that are established are, finding themselves kind of like on loose ground just because the platforms are changing super quickly. People can't, or maybe aren't willing to like adjust and do more video content or play into the trends or like the platforms. But I would say that that's still a great opportunity for someone that's beginning to, really take it and run, because the thing that I've learned is that this landscape is always changing and it's always going to be changing. And the mindset is like, now it's, as long as you're willing to like roll with those punches, I feel like you're going to always be in like a good position to like create opportunity for yourself, because with those changes, opportunity is created, like more opportunity is created. So if you always keep like a positive mindset about that and try not to get like too attached to, let's say like, I have a decent following now, and like, it's like, like the platforms that change where like that doesn't mean as much anymore. Yeah. And I can't stay attached to that thing. Yeah. Like I'm not entitled to, I don't own Instagram. Like I'm renting that space technically. Right. So it's like, as long as you understand those things and then work on, the business side of things, then you should be fine, Yeah.
One thing I did want to talk about is we sent you over some filters and you actually shot the chain smokers with them. Can you talk a little bit about using the filters and what that was like?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for those. That filters, that's one of the things that like is great for photographers to like be able to set themselves apart with, like, especially the ones you guys have. Like the swirly one was like insane. I remember I got a shot of Drew from the Chainsmokers. Like he was like between two fire pillars that like had come. I had just like caught the timing and like I used that filter and it would just like look like he was like, you know, like from the POV of like a dragon. Like it was crazy. But yeah, that like coincided really well. The timing of like, I think I reached out. I was like, hey, I'm looking for like.
Yeah, I knew we followed each other on. I think we met on TikTok, maybe.
We met on TikTok, yeah.
Yeah, because we both kind of blew up our TikToks around like COVID, and then now my TikTok's like dead.
Same.
Yeah, no, mine's actually getting really bad lately.
It was good though. He was killing TikTok like a month ago for his spider film.
Oh yeah.
Like every little kid in like North America was posting.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
It was popping. Like,
there was like a TikTok. I started a little trend actually with this one random sound that wasn't like related to my thing at all, but people started using it.
Yeah.
It was like that weird breathing. Right?
It was like I don't know. It was like a zombie groaning or something like that. Yeah. From something completely unrelated to what mine was.
We're getting off track. But, yeah. So yeah, we linked up and I sent you over some filters and then even the shot you did with the split filter with just the subtle blur was really nice too, especially for portraits. So yeah. Do you shoot portraits or like?
That's something that I started doing. I used to do it a lot, and then I kind of just like I don't know, just dropped out of it for some reason. And nowadays, now that I have my own studio space, like that's why I'm like trying to experiment and like differentiate my work a little bit. Going back into shooting portraits and then, you know, getting creative with like the filters and stuff like that. Sick. And then, it was like really cool when I got those filters and then like I got the job to tour with the Chainsmokers for a bit.
You toured with them like multiple dates?
Yeah, it was their The Party Never Ends tour last year. And that was like 3 shows. So it was LA, and then we went to New York, and then San Francisco.
That's right.
And also Red Rocks, which is how I got this tattoo. That's a whole story too. Oh, cool. But that was it was really fun. But the filters, like made a whole difference. There was one specific shot where I got with them. I think it was with like the star filter. It was like crazy. I got this shot, like really compressed shot at the end of their set. So the way that they set up their entire show was that they had like an A stage and a B stage. So like the B stage is where they would end their show at. And it was like at Red Rocks, it was like, I don't know if you've ever been to that venue, but they have like a little secret tunnel that goes from the main stage under to the front of house, which is like front of house is like where they have all their like, you know, production people kind of like sitting there like doing the show. Where they pop out there and then they went up to the stage. But I was like, I had planned to be like kind of off in the distance, so the stage was basically in the center of like this mass of people. I had this like super cool compressed shot of like them finishing up their set with like the crowd going wild around. It was like a sea of people. It was cool.
Yeah, it was that reel you made was super cool too, just because like it was like honestly like a catalog. It was just cool seeing you use every single filter. Like it goes from like the saw filter to the star filter to the circular swirl. So it was cool just kind of seeing those cycle through. So thanks for using them. It was sick.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Cool. Is there any place that you want to send people? Anything you want to promote before we wrap out here?
No, I don't really have anything to promote. Just go to my Instagram if you want to. Like, I'm not stressing about that. And
check it out.
Yeah. Are you ever so you the community building stuff, like is that something that you're not working on much anymore? Like you're not well, now you're in LA, like that's not like the photo meetups and stuff, that's not something that's kind of I think relevant to you now?
I think it's just in a different format. I'm not really into like the photo meetups and like the just kind of meeting up without a purpose.
Sure.
It's more like I still really value community. I've been just trying to think about how I can still provide value to that community, but in a way that's a little more sustainable, that makes sense for just where I'm at. And I would, you know, with what you guys are doing, that's like a really great, you know, avenue. But for me, I feel like I have a lot of knowledge and just like experience, and I wouldn't say like coaching is like the avenue, but I've like dabbled in that space. Because I have like a finance was like where I came from. So like I have like this business background.
Oh, sick.
But yeah, that combined with just, I guess like what I know today, like I feel like I can help a lot of people with, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I don't know if.
So you might be like mentoring people in the future. Is there kind of?
I would really like to, because I feel like came out of that community phase where I was like, I really got a lot of value out of just helping people, putting on community events and bringing people together. And then I went through this phase where I was like, okay, like now I want to focus on myself and build my career and like do these projects and like build my name, in that realm where I can do cooler jobs and stuff like that. And now I feel like I'm turning another corner where I want to now take that knowledge and help someone, that is a beginner. Because I feel like when I started, I didn't really have people that were like helping me out in that way. I feel like there was a lot of, I guess gatekeeping is the right word. It's like kind of a negative word, but like it's like it's like people want to kind of keep their secrets tight to their chest and stuff. And I found myself even in that kind of scarcity mindset a couple times when I've just been like down on myself, so I understand it's like just a human thing. Yeah. But it's important to me to like have, I don't know, provide some value to those that need it.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would love to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is fun.